Music is such a blessing. It's really a communication language with no barrier.
Hi, I'm Abe Baderos. I'm in the rotational program, which means I get to experience lots of different areas of the Bose business from right here at the corporate center. Today, I got the unique opportunity to go down and check out some really cool technology in the automotive space and the people behind it. I'm here in the ALF, the Automotive Lab Facility, and I'm joined by Masa Nagamiya, who's going to teach me a little bit about what he's working on and what it's like working at Bose. Masa, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Abe.
So before we get into the technology and really into what's going on here,
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, your personal background, and how you got to Bose.
Okay. I have actually lived in a lot of different countries. I spent time in Japan, in America, and also in France, of all places. I've had a very automotive career. So I worked at Toyota, I worked at Valeo, which is a French company, and also at Bayer in Stuttgart, in Germany.
Outside of where you've worked before, what are your hobbies? What are you into? What are your personal
So I'm
interests?
big into music. I started piano when I was 3, and I started playing guitar when I was 14. I still play today in bands. I love jamming, I love writing and recording, and music is such a blessing. It's really a communication language with no barriers.
I know for a lot of people, music really connects to Bose because of what we do. Did you ever see your passion or your hobbies connecting so closely to your job before?
When I thought about my career, you have to be really passionate about what you do. So I chose cars.
Okay.
I love cars. I've always loved cars since I was a kid. I look back at my first car that I ever owned, the Honda Accord. It was 1986. It was actually the car that my dad used to drive.
Okay.
That was my first car. I loved the feel of driving around and listening to music in it. A lot of episodes around how I would just crank up the music in the parking lot to make sure that, it doesn't get in the way of other people in the cabin if I'm just by myself.
Sure.
But then after 10 years of working on cars in different companies, I realized I really like this. And I'm not losing interest. I don't hate it because it's my job.
Sure.
And I think the great thing about working at Bose is that we are all about innovation and the fundamental research that goes behind that. So if I can add music into that somehow, it would just be a winning combination. And that's why I'm here. That's what I thoroughly enjoy doing, and I'm really blessed to be here.
Talk to me a little bit about what your role is and what exactly it is that you do.
Sure. So I'm a senior product manager, and I'm part of the product planning team here. What we do is we take consumer experiences that we strive for, we make technical specifications out of them, and there's a lot of consumer research as well as business studies to make sure we're doing the right thing and making money, sure. And all of that goes into the final product that is then deployed to our global customer teams who go out to all the OEMs to try to see if they are interested in the next generation of products that will benefit their consumers.
You talked a little bit about your experience working for OEMs. Do you feel like that now gives you a different lens and perspective working for someone like Bose that is creating products for the OEMs?
I think so. I think it helps because knowing how an OEM thinks and sort of seeing it through their lens can help plan things from our side as well, because if we are conscious of what their pain points are, it makes the whole product even better.
We're here to talk about the tech. We're here to
Sure.
talk about the cool stuff.
Yep.
So what technology are you working on today?
We have a suite of features called Seat-Centric. So what Seat-Centric does fundamentally is, rather than having one music source, one whole cabin, one volume for everybody, what we're trying to do is we are trying to have individual customized experiences in each seat. So if the driver wants to have music and if the passengers don't, or if the front seat wants music and the rear seats don't, or if you want to have a phone call focused in the driver's seat without having to stop the music in the other seats, all that is possible today.
It's incredible. So
Yeah.
it sounds like a real personalized experience within the car.
I think a lot of us talk about how it's a paradigm shift from having that all together, one cabin, to a more individual experience.
Wow. Can you talk a little bit about the hardware and the software that
Sure.
makes that possible?
Yeah, so there are a couple key features here that go into making a seat-centric experience. The first one, I would say, is the seat-based ultra-near-field speaker structures. Those can be either in your headrest or in the seat base in the shoulder area. What they do is they really control the sound, the image stability, and also the isolation between seats. And because they're so close to your ear, you have really good control compared to having them scattered around in different parts of the car. The other thing is really the software algorithm that we have, which is actually our foundational audio tool called perceptual sound rendering. This is the enabler for all the tuning we do generally, but it's also an enabler, for example, to either emphasize bass in a specific seat or cancel bass in a specific seat. So we can do that. And if you combine that with the headrest speakers or the seat-based speakers, you can get a pretty convincing musical experience in specific seats. And that's sort of how we do the seat-centric experiences in general.
This sounds like really awesome technology.
Yeah.
Has Bose been innovating in this space for a while?
Yeah, so I started working on these products maybe 5 years ago. I would argue that some of the enablers that go into this, the research started years before that as well. So there's been a long history of work to build up to this.
What does the future look like?
We already have a couple specific features defined. We're working on the next generation, like I said before. And there are a lot of enablers that are still in research that will make the experiences better. We're also looking at things like wearables and how they integrate into the experience in addition to the audio system that's already in the car. I think we can really bring more benefit to the end consumers, and we're really excited to bring them forward.
This is really amazing technology, what you're able to do. It seems like there's a lot that goes into that. So how do you handle all of the complex requirements that it takes to make something like this happen?
That's a great question. So we have a lot of complicated, varying requests from our OEM customers. It's a lot of work to try to summarize that and make a requirement out of it. But at the same time, I'm going to take a step back. I'm also a musician, a car lover. I've lived in different countries and speak different languages. I'm really excited about how to bring people together to have a common understanding, common targets, hear exciting things. I think what we also try to do, in addition to those requirements, is to try to make sure that there's part of us that is really injected in the spirit of the product or the system. And I think everybody that I work with has the same idea of making sure that they contribute in their unique way. And I think the summary of that is what really makes Bose special.
Speaking about your personal experiences and your love for music,
Sure.
how does that come together when you're able to see a final product? Do you have some, personal satisfaction in seeing that when you have that?
Yeah, it's a
musical
great
background?
question. Like, when I listen to tunings, an acoustic system engineer would be working on a tuning, whether that be a concept car or production car. I will audit, I will sit in the car and in the driving seat listening to it. And sometimes I'm just amazed at the sound it creates. But sometimes I'm also taken back to the 80s where I would be sitting in that Honda Accord listening to music. And just thinking about the journey that I took from there until today with all the different cars I've been in, the different music I've listened to, the different studies I've done, the different companies I've worked for. It was a massive journey, but that all adds up to having immense satisfaction, and I feel really grateful.
That's awesome. That's probably what keeps you going.
Absolutely.
Masa, I wanted to say thank you. This has been awesome for me, really learning about what it is that you do, learning about automotive, and how your personal experiences, made your work so much more enriching. I really enjoyed getting to learn about seat-centric, and I'm really excited to learn more about Bose technology in the future.